Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. If you're new to my channel, my name is Megan and I'm really glad that you're here. What I do on this channel is give weekly garden tours, but I also really enjoy sharing videos in between on harvesting and preserving and planting, as well as my Azure Standard hauls. But what I'm going to do today is show you how I plant my garlic cloves in my green stalks. Last year I had really great success, which is why I'm going to do it again this year, but with even more green stalks. So let's get started. Now, real quick before we get started, I do want to share that I purchased my garlic bulbs from My Gardener. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of places where you can purchase your bulbs from, but that is where I purchased mine from. I had really great success with them last year, which is why I went ahead and bought some more this year, except this year, I want to say I bought about 5 different varieties and I bought a lot. So I'm going to be planting quite a bit in hopes to have a very large harvest next year. But what I want to show you next is the fertilizer that I also bought from My Gardener that I think gave me really good success as well. So let me show you that. Now, the fertilizer that I purchased from My Gardener, I got this last year and I thought it did very well. It is their bulb fertilizer, and all you're going to do, and you'll see it when I go ahead and plant the cloves, you're just going to put a tablespoon in each hole where you plant the clove, and that's what I did last year, and that's what I plan to do again this year. I also want to share that there are 2 different types of garlics. You have a hard neck that just has that center stalk that's harder, and then you have a soft neck, which the term soft is a soft neck. There's not that hard stalk that's in the middle. Now, from what I've learned, because I live in the South in Alabama, soft neck does better in this region. So I only purchased all soft neck garlic. And last year when I did that, the soft neck garlic did very well. So I plan to do that again this year. Now, before I show you the rest of my supplies and we actually plant the garlic cloves, I do want to mention the difference between when to plant when you're in the northern region versus the southern region. In the north, from my understanding, you want to plant your garlic cloves 4 to 6 weeks before the ground freezes so that the roots can establish itself. And in the south, you want to start planting your cloves sometime in October, November, when it starts to get cooler outside, so their roots can start to develop as well before the winter starts. Before I show you the rest of the supplies, these 3 green stalks, as well as this one that I have apart, are the 4 green stalks that I'm going to plant all of my garlic cloves in. Now, I did get a lot of cloves, so I might actually be putting some maybe in other green stalks, or very possibly somewhere up there in the garden. I haven't figured that out yet. Right now, my goal is just to fill all of these green stalks right now, and then whatever's left over, I will figure out a home for them. Now, one thing I want to point out, you can see that my green stalks are already filled. So in my green stalks, I already have the Bacto soil, which is what we're going to use, and I only have this here to kind of top off on spots that may need just a little bit more soil. So I have my Bacto soil, and then the other product that I use is my black cow compost. This is the black cow compost. I've shared this in other videos. I absolutely love this stuff. I don't think I need to add it to the green stalk. I think I just need to top it off with the Bacto, so that's what we're going to do today. And then my other favorite product is, of course, my garden straw. I love this company, Healthy Straw. They're out of Canada, wonderful people. And I've used this on all of my garden beds, my bags, my green stalks, and they've done really well. Because what you want to do is you want to mulch over your garlic to protect it during the winter time. Before we actually plant the cloves, there's a few things that I want to point out. So here are all of my cloves that I've peeled from the bulbs. This is early Italian garlic. But if you can see these cloves, they're completely still covered with the paper. It's really important to keep the paper on as much as possible on the garlic, because you could run the risk where if it comes off and the garlic is exposed, you could run the risk of it molding in the soil and not even growing. So you want to keep the paper on as much as possible. The next thing that's really important is that when we go ahead and plant this, we're going to want to plant the pointy part of it facing up and the flat part of it facing down into the soil, because this is where the roots are going to grow from. So let me show you how we're going to do that. I also want to point something out when it comes to my green stalks, and this would be the same with my bags or my buckets or even my raised beds. I keep the soil watered so that you can see right here, it looks very healthy. It's still very moist. It's very loose. It's not tight or hard or compacted. So there's no need to take all of the soil out and start from scratch, because I don't know about you, but soil and compost, it's expensive. So I don't see the need to throw this out and have to completely get new soil or compost. So what I plan to do for these is just top it off with a little bit of that Bacto soil that I showed earlier. And then I want to make sure to leave a little bit of space, because you do want to mulch for the winter time to protect the cloves from extreme cold temperatures or fluctuation in temperatures. So I'm just going to top this off a little bit, and then we're going to plant our cloves.
And when it comes to soil, you don't have to use what I'm using. Anything will do, as long as it's a loose, well-draining soil and a mix of some compost in there.
One thing I want to quickly add is my goal for this video is to focus on this one pocket and how I plant the clove, because this would be the same way that I plant the other pockets. It would also be the same way that I would plant it in my bags, my buckets, or my raised beds, except my raised beds is square foot gardening, so I would find out how many cloves per square foot would go in there. This is a little bit different because it is its own pocket, and I only plan to put 1 clove in per pocket. So I just want to point that out to you so that you can see up close how I plant my cloves, because it will apply for anywhere else that I plant them. And real quick, I want to show you this tool. I have shared this in previous videos. This is a great way for digging your holes or planting your seeds. It also, you probably can't see it because it's dirty and it's all dark here, but it does have measuring markers here for centimeters as well as inches. So this is just going to help me to make sure that not only that I have a precise hole to plant the clove, but also to measure it. So now that we put our Bacto soil and we topped it off, I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to make a 2-inch hole to put the clove in. And now we're going to put the fertilizer in before we plant the clove. So here's a tablespoon of fertilizer. I am just going to place that right in there, and then we're going to put the clove in there. And before I actually plant the clove, I'm just going to mix this around a little bit into the soil. And now what we're going to do, you see the clove right here? We're going to do the point facing up and the flat part facing down. And then I just take this tool and I will brush the soil right over it, just like that. And then we're going to take the straw and we're going to cover it. And now we're just going to water it in, and come spring we'll fertilize it one more time, and then you're going to have your garlic.
A few things I would like to add when it comes to the fertilizer. You don't have to use the fertilizer that I'm using. Any fertilizer would do, but adding something to your soil would be good for the growth of your garlic, since they are in there for quite a long time. Or if you just have some really good compost, then just use soil and compost and then plant your garlic. And you also do not have to use straw like I'm using. Any type of mulch that could cover your garlic will be sufficient. When I started gardening, one of my goals was to grow as much of the food that we consume often, so we weren't having to spend that money at the store, and garlic was definitely on that list. It really is easy to grow and does not require a ton of my time during the growing process. Now, my next goal is to grow enough garlic that I can save a few bulbs to replant for next year.
So friends, let's do a quick recap on planting garlic. First, find out which garlic does best, either hard or soft neck in your region. Then find out when the best time is to plant your garlic. And then the next thing you want is to make sure that you have a good sunny spot with some really good well drainage soilage and some rich compost. Get yourself a good fertilizer and then plant your cloves. Make sure the paper's completely over the bulb. Plant with the pointy part up and the flat part down. And then cover it with some soil, cover it with some mulch, keep an eye on it, fertilize it in the spring, and you are well on your way to having your own garlic. And I also want to add that when I learned to plant and grow garlic, and I actually had success just this last summer with garlic, it encouraged me to not only do it again, but to plant even more. And from that harvest in June, which I will put that video in the description below, I still have garlic in my refrigerator ready to go, and I have not had to buy any because I don't know about you, but it has gotten so expensive, garlic. And so the fact that I can grow garlic in my backyard in a small space like my GREENSTALK has really encouraged me to keep on growing and harvesting garlic without having to rely on the grocery stores. So friends, I want to thank you for watching this video, for coming alongside me and watching me plant this garlic. My hope with any of my videos is to always encourage you because I will never claim to be an expert. I am someone who just wants to grow her own food and learn how to do it on her own without relying on the stores. And so again, my hope with these videos is to encourage you to say, hey, if she can do it, then I can do it too, because it really is that simple. And really the best teacher is experience. And that is what I've learned. Now, while I do love a lot of the people that are on YouTube and all of the wonderful people that put classes out on the internet, and I am beyond grateful for them because I don't come from a family that does farming and homesteading. Maybe a couple generations ago, the way it used to be, but not very recently. I am very grateful for them. But I will say that experience is by far the best teacher. So go ahead and plant some garlic, watch how it grows. If you make a mistake, it's okay. What you do, you get up and you try it again next year. That's what happened to me my first year. I didn't really grow a whole lot of garlic. Then my second year, it got better. And now I'm on my third year. And I'm super excited about it because the more and more you just continue to grow, the more and more you learn to garden, the better you're going to get. And it's okay. You can make mistakes. It's how you learn. So I appreciate you all coming by, and I really look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye. And remember, friends, be encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.